Hello, I'm Twisty Sieves. Now, many of you already know this, but I've been known to dabble in a bit of everything. I don't just do short films and vlogs. Well, recently I had the pleasure of visiting a small-time church with my family called Higher Grounds Worship Center. Now, for those of you who don't know what Higher Grounds Worship Center is, I encourage you to check out the link to the website that I put in the description below. Anyway, while at Higher Grounds Worship Center, there was a guest speaker named Harold Eberle. And for those of you who don't know what Harold Eberle is, there's also a link to his website in the description below as well. And I encourage that you go check him out because he's also pretty great. Anyway, he was speaking on Father-Son theology. Now, for those of you who don't know what Father-Son theology is what our opinions and beliefs are about who God is and our relationship with Him, about His identity and our identity, and how that all fits together. So, while there, I had a screw it moment and decided that I wanted to speak because he had left an open Q&A of sorts with the audience. So I literally said screw it when he handed me the microphone and went up in front of the audience and spoke for a solid 7 minutes over the course of 2 nights, I think. So the following footage is me hijacking a church service. I hope you enjoy.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Not experienced with microphone at all.
Cool.
Just can I share an opinion real quick that I've had for a couple of years?
Sure.
I'm a writer. I've been a writer since I was 10 years old. I'm 17 now, so it's been about 7 years of me writing.
Cool.
And so I'm a full-out linguist. And what I've come to understand is that the English language has about half the rules in the English language contradict each other. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that, but like half the rules in the English language we don't actually follow when we write. And it's because the English language is never changing. There's not a rigid rule book. And recently I've been going to math classes because I'm horrible at math. And I've come to another realization is that math is just another language. It's another way of communicating with the world. And what I've come to realize is that these words that we constantly throw around like timeless or immutable or, even the word irreverent or reverent, these are words that have changed over thousands of years. You see, when we first started using these words, they were based out of all types of different languages. At one point in the Bible, we find that now there was one language and then they split off. So what we have is we have all these different languages and these words have changed over time. So what do we have? We have words that meant something then, but they don't mean the same thing now.
Yeah.
What is time? What do we know time as? I don't know if anyone here watches time travel movies. I'm a teenage boy, so I watch lots of time travel movies. Mm-hmm. But in each time travel movie, you always see some different type of twist and turn and people trying to explain what they think time is. But what is time? Why is time? And why did God create it? And if God created it, why wouldn't He want to be a part of it?
Yes.
It's like you're talking about the Father, and it's like, let me ask you a question. In this Calvinism theology that we have here, God punishes sin. And like cancer is a great punishment that God supposedly gives His people. I want to ask you a question. How many here have kids?
Yes.
Just raise your hands. Do you have kids?
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. If your kid stole your car in the middle of the night, are you going to inject him with leukemia? Is that what you're going to do to your kid and punish him? So what kind of a father do we have here? We have a psychopath, if this is how we're going to believe.
Yep.
So that's my opinion on that.
Yes. Amen. A judge, a dictator, and a psychopath. Okay.
So.
Yes. Here. Do one more. Brother over here's got some. The psycho brother. Okay. Psychopath. Yeah.
Thanks for that. That's a nice touch.
It's good.
Okay, so you know what? Screw it. I'm coming up there real quick.
Okay.
I gotta look at your board.
Okay.
Your board's awesome. Okay, so I don't know. I really like his idea of culture because different cultures are all around the world, and history has progressed over thousands of years now. So what do we have? We have two different mindsets here. We have this, what did you call it,
Western thought.
Western thought, and that's because this is how we've grown up.
Yep.
We've looked at the Bible, we've looked at the way things are, and we've tried to understand it from a literal perspective. Now, something we have to realize is that the Hebrew people were very symbolic. Somewhere in Revelation, I think it says that when it's talking about the end times, as so many people know it, it talks about the end times, and it says that a third of the stars will hit the planet Earth, and then the story goes on as if we somehow survived that catastrophic event. Let me tell you something, folks. If a third of the stars hit the planet, bye-bye planet. It's gone. It's gone. So what do we have? We're trying to literally understand something that's symbolic. God isn't necessarily meant to be understood. He's meant to be known.
Yes.
This is about
That's
a
beautiful.
relationship,
Yep.
not about a math book.
Yes.
See, this isn't rules and regulations that we read in a handbook in college somewhere.
Yes.
This is something we go out and see and experience. Let me ask you a question. How many of you drove here tonight? Most of you. Good. That means, and how many of you have a driver's license? Just checking. Good. That means you got here legally.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Now, when you were getting your driver's license, what was best? Did you read a handbook and understand suddenly how to drive, or did you go out and drive? You had to drive. You had to
Yep.
get behind the wheel and actually learn how to drive. The handbook gave you a guideline, ideas, regulations. You know, don't jump, don't drive off a cliff. That's one of the big ones. That's what the way it is with God, folks.
Yep.
He is someone you get to know,
Yep.
not someone you read in a book.
Yeah.
So we try to literally understand something that wasn't meant to be understood literally. No, it's meant to be understood in here.
Yes.
It's not something that we
Yep.
stand from afar off and go, oh, no, that's God. It's not something we do that. We go up to God and say,
Yes.
hey, God.
Yes.
You're the pastor, so you're God.
Yes.
So I think that really summing it up some is that God is not something that we put inside a box.
Yeah.
Inside a box. He's a person.
He's a person.
We were made in his image, so what does that make him and what does that make us? It's all
Yes.
found in our identity of who we think he is.
Yes.
And that's not found in a book, people.
No.
That's found by going out and searching for him anywhere he may be.
Yes.
That's all I had to say. Sorry.
Amen. Hooah. Yes. Good point.
Hey everyone, I hope that you enjoyed watching me hijack a church service. If you have any differing opinions or just thoughts on the matter, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, feel free to subscribe to Higher Grounds Worship Center and Harold Eberle, both great people and organizations. And don't forget to subscribe to me as well. Anyway, big thanks to Higher Grounds Worship Center for letting me post this footage, and big thanks to Harold Eberle for letting me hijack a service.